especially with the news recently, is that these guys are so big and fast and strong that their bodies just can't quite keep up with that sometimes. I mean, you see Aiyuk dealing with the constant nagging hamstring stuff, right? The tightness, all these different type of little things. And to me, that isn't a matter of, a guy being a superb elite athlete. That's a guy who's maximized his physical potential and whose body is pushing back, right? I mean, maybe I'm trying to be a little too pessimistic here, Eric, but I feel like these guys are so big and strong now that the tension they're creating on their bodies is dangerous.
I mean, it feels like we're seeing ACLs at a rate that we didn't used to see. And where I see exactly where you're talking about is actually in baseball with these pitchers. They're throwing 100 miles an hour, right? It's like we haven't had so many pitchers throwing 95 miles an hour plus that I've ever seen. But what is that coming with? More elbow surgeries. These guys are getting Tommy John. So you're right. It's like they're getting bigger, stronger, faster. But the ligaments, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but the ligaments are staying the same size, Ben.
Yeah, you're right. And I think the thing with all the torn ACLs, the MCLs, the PCLs, I mean, all these CLs that we haven't heard of besides the past 5 to 10 years, seriously, that's the type of stuff to where those injuries happen because those guys are playing with so much weight, because they're so muscled up, because they're putting so much pressure on their knees and their ligaments, like you're talking about. Like you can only do so much to strengthen your ligaments. I think more of these guys should listen to Tom Brady, what he has to say about pliability and all this kind of stuff. It seems like the new wave to go with and to stay healthy in the NFL. But I don't know how Aiyuk is doing this past week because we didn't see media with them this past week. But I remember last week he didn't play because he had hamstring tightness, And to me, Aiyuk isn't the type of guy where he's this natural gifted athlete where he is natural and he's gifted. But at the same time, I mean, this is a guy who worked up from JUCO, who went to ASU, right? And now is at the 49ers. He's had to build his body a certain way. And to maintain your body that way at that level, you're going to run into injuries eventually, right? I mean, it just seems impossible not to.
And I've heard that Aiyuk is a workout warrior. I mean, he spends a lot of time in the weight room, and which you like to see, but
it's such a teeter-totter balance in the NFL.
Yeah.
On the one hand, there are guys smoking cigarettes, drinking at halftime 40, 50 years. No, seriously. I mean, we joke about these things, but guys drinking alcohol, smoking at halftime, doing all these things to their body. And then on the completely other side of the spectrum, you see these guys working out so much now that they're causing injuries. I think, I don't want to blame that on Nick Bosa's injury, but to me, that's the type of guy who's a case study for this problem in the NFL, where these guys are doing so much with their body. They're building themselves up so much that they're kind of setting themselves up for injuries, unfortunately.